Have you ever read the phone book? Well, this chapter is just as exciting. It's just a long, complicated family tree. But bear with me, there are a few nuggets of twisted gold in this Christian mythology. This is the written account of Adam's family line. When God created mankind, he made them in the likeness of God. He created them male and female and blessed them, and he named them mankind when they were created. I love the idea of how the Bible preps us for the family tree we're about to be introduced to, even though it literally cannot branch. And God doesn't deserve any credit for naming them mankind unless we know what the alternatives were. Some versions of the Bible say he named them Adam, like all of them. So hold your applause is all I'm saying. When Adam had lived 130 years, he had a son in his own likeness, in his own image, and he named him Seth. After Seth was born, Adam lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Adam lived a total of 930 years, and then he died. 930 years. They always die young. I will say that's a long time to live, considering God sentenced him to death for eating an apple, which he did way before his 930th birthday. I don't know. Maybe God forgot. Can you imagine living to 130, having a kid, and then living another 800 years? I have kids, and I'm in my 30s, and I already feel old. You think I'm gonna stick it out for a few more decades and then say, I want more? If we admit the average lifespan today for men is like 80 years old, that's like having your first kid at age 11. It's messed up. And he had daughters? Who knew? What were their names? No, seriously, what were their names? Or are they just not important enough to have names? Maybe he just called them all Adam. By the way, what happened to Cain and Abel? I guess they're not interesting enough to be included in this genealogy. Who knew Seth was the golden child? And where do you think Adam went after he died? I mean, he couldn't have accepted Jesus in his life since Jesus doesn't exist yet. So, Adam's in hell, right? Adam is totally in hell. I mean, he had no other option, just hell. When Seth had lived 105 years, he became the father of Enosh. After he became the father of Enosh, Seth lived 807 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Seth lived a total of 912 years, and then he died. He had his first kid at 105. That's a long time to presumably be abstinent, but I'm glad he and his sister finally took the plunge. He had other sons and daughters too, I love that. Adam's kids were insignificant enough that they didn't even get names. Imagine how super insignificant Seth's kids are. When Enosh had lived 90 years, he became the father of Kenan. After he became the father of Kenan, Enosh lived 815 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enosh lived a total of 905 years, and then he died. I don't think this should be a Bible verse. At this point, the writers are just using copy-paste and inserting new names, and apparently watching Saturday Night Live while they do it. When Kenan had lived 70 years, he became the father of Mahalalel. After he became the father of Mahalalel, Kenan lived 840 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Kenan lived a total of 910 years, and then he died. Poor Kenan. Only 910. He deserved so much more. When Mahalalel had lived 65 years, he became the father of Jared. After he became the father of Jared, Mahalalel lived 830 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Mahalalel lived a total of 895 years, and then he died. I get it, Bible, you're out of ideas. You could just end the book here. By the way, you may have noticed that all these people are having babies at younger ages. Do you think Adam was ever just sitting around complaining about how the kids these days are just having sex way too early? When Jared had lived 162 years, he became the father of Enoch. After he became the father of Enoch, Jared lived 800 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Jared lived a total of 962 years, and then he died. Whenever someone tells you they've read the entire Bible, you know they're lying, because no one could possibly sit through and make sense of this timeline. When Enoch had lived 65 years, he became the father of Methuselah. After he became the father of Methuselah, Enoch walked faithfully with God 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Enoch lived a total of 365 years. Enoch walked faithfully with God. Then he was no more, because God took him away. Damn! 365! Imagine what Enoch must have done for God to destroy him before he even hit middle age. When Methuselah had lived 187 years, he became the father of Lamech. After he became the father of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Methuselah lived a total of 969 years, and then he died. Here's an interesting bit of trivia. With the birth of Lamech, there are 9 generations of Adam's family living at the same time. Think about how awkward Thanksgiving dinner is because of your racist, sexist grandfather. Now imagine how much worse it would be with another 6 generations of ancient thinking. Methuselah, by the way, is a word that has become synonymous with someone who's really old. And yet he lives only 7 years longer than Jared, and literally no one thinks about the biblical Jared. Come on, admit it. You didn't even know there was a Jared in the Bible. It's like getting the silver medal in a fictional marathon. It's not real, but you still lost. When Lamech had lived 182 years, he had a son. He named him Noah and said, "He will comfort us in the labor and painful toil of our hands caused by the ground the Lord has cursed." After Noah was born, Lamech lived 595 years and had other sons and daughters. Altogether, Lamech lived a total of 777 years, and then he died. 777! Jackpot! After Noah was 500 years old, he became the father of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Well, that was just riveting. By the way, this is only part 1 of the timeline. It continues from here in Genesis 9. If that genealogy is accurate, and it's so not, for about 1,500 years, the only thing anybody did is reproduce. Nothing else was ever noteworthy. Ancient civilizations, as we know them, created art and language and empires. This one inbred biblical family just sat around and got it on. There should really be one last verse. Genesis chapter 5, verse 33. The aristocrats.